Hello, old friend. I haven't seen you in about 10 years. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Pat Taste of Forms. Today inside the garage, we have this iconic and beautiful Ariens 1128. I have not seen this snowblower in about 10 years. And believe it or not, it is here for a repair that I kind of hinted that he needed it to him. I'm not sure if I have it in the description or not, but he specifically called me today and said it's time to pick this up. Here in Long Island, New York, we did have a lack of snow, so that also doesn't help. It also doesn't help that I use superior products like Royal Purple, so seeing machines one season after another for residential is really inconsistent on my end. I do not cold call people trying to chase them down. You have to call me. Nonetheless, he also has another complaint, which does not include servicing the machine. He did not want the machine serviced. He didn't mention it. I am not going to suggest it. That's on me. Anyway, he wants the clutch replaced, and the second is the electric start doesn't work. So we are going to plug it in and verify that it doesn't work. Hey, that does not sound good. So right off the bat, we could hear it spinning, but we could also hear it make that ching, 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 ching sound. So let's get a little bit of a closer look, and we're gonna do a little bit of a visual on it. First thing you want to do is give it a shake. That is not supposed to be loose. This is supposed to be really, really tight. Now this is a common problem on Tecumseh's. I have not seen it any place else, and it's really not a terrible fix. So let's get a little bit closer. Let's take a look at the hardware. See, it's loose. We have one bolt missing here on the bottom. Are you guys ready for some snow blower yoga? So it's just a little bit easier to work on and get into position. All right, something is better than nothing, and that really doesn't do anything. Anyway, put something down. You can see we're a little bit under construction. Snowblower yoga, lift with your legs, not with your back. Make sure the chute is tilted one way. And we can give a gander over here. All right, so anytime you tip your snowblower in the snowblower yoga position, make sure your oil cap is tight so nothing leaks out. Take a plastic bag or just an envelope of some sort, anything that's plastic, nice and tight. Because when we put this thing in the upside in the snowblower yoga position, we will not have any fuel spill out in most cases. You do not need to drain the gas and oil on your snowblower to work on it like this. All right, so these are a T30. All right, so these are a T30. Technically, if this has never been touched by anybody else and they haven't replaced any of the hardware, you're just gonna drop these two bottom bolts and the starter should be sliding out. And don't forget to just loosen up the top. But we can tell that this starter is loose, that the bolts on top have backed out a little bit. So I'm just gonna undo this one bolt. Put this someplace where we can't lose it now that we're a little bit more organized in here, and wiggle this out. And you guys can see right here it's missing some teeth. So can we count? All right, let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is a 16 tooth starter. So since this starter works, we're not going to replace it. We're just going to replace this starter gear here. And you guys could see we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teeth. So it does function, it's just not as efficient as it should. Let's get this starter out of here, let's get this starter out of here for demonstration purposes, and we'll bring you over to the bench. Okay, so right here, we have these 2 bolts. These are 1/4 inch. And we'll just get these right out. And this is going to free up where you plug in your electric start. And tell me this cover. Oh, you know what? Because I have this here. This. There we go. The same way it comes out is the same way it's going to go in. All right, guys. So here we are. Here's our starter gear. Okay, we hope that Mrs. Pate's Performance did order the right one. Let's give it a quick gander, quick visual, and it seems to be maybe okay. We shall see. What do you think? So basically what I told her to do was I am going to put a affiliate link where you can purchase this starter gear if she ordered the correct one, but starter number is 3700. Okay, once you look down the parts diagram for that, then you have the schematics for this entire starter. Gotta have and use this in quite some time. You probably do not need this, but because I used to do a lot of these, I bought the kit. 670346, made in the good old USA. And here are some wonderful instructions on how to do it. Let's see. Oh yeah, so that's very simple. This is how you're going to remove and recess. All right, so let's get busy. So we're going to take our crimping tool, and we're just going to pull this up. You know, if you guys don't have these fancy schmancy tools, it's not necessary. Come on. Let's do this diagram one more time. They're pitching it right on the top, which we are doing. Come on. We're going to have to use a trick where we use just a little bit of heat because this rubber gets stiff over time. Okay, we're off. Didn't need the fancy tool, just gave it a squeeze. Next step is this ring gear right here. We're going to pull this back and we're going to expose this ring right here. There is an opening. On that opening is where we are going to pry. So it's, I guess the proper term for this would be like a hog ring. So, oh, we're off center. Okay. And we're off, or we should be off. Do we need to pry a little bit more? I don't want to bend this too much. Because then you don't want to break it. Now I know where some of you guys live in a more rural area than me. I don't even know where I'd go to get a hog ring. You know, you guys can go to your farmer stores and get a hog ring. And make sure nothing flies out like that just flew out. All right, so that goes there. We'll do our hog ring. This part is done. Put that there. Spring comes right off. Very simple. We're going to take this gear out. Are these the same? No. The same, but different. Well, we made it this far. Are these the same height? Just a wee bit shorter. All right, so what I like to do, unpopular opinion on this starter gear, while it's here, you know, I would never take apart a starter to do this, but it's apart already. So since it's apart already, we're going to put some grease on the shaft. That's it. This is Lucas Red and Tacky, but you could literally use anything you want. Grease is grease. I'm not going to argue with you people over that. Okay. Okay, so it is spinning, so that's a good thing. Okay, so then you need to put spring, right? Yep. And then our hog clip. So you got to make sure that this goes back in to where it was seated on the starter. Come on. There's that slot. You're going to put it in this slot. Right here. Now if you pull this apart enough, unlike me, you should be able to slide it right in. I'm just going to get, okay, we're in. Apply pressure And we'll squeeze from the top just to get it off. And then we'll use our handy dandy pliers to squeeze this back in, just like the instructions showed us. I'm just giving it a squeeze for good measure. And as you guys can see, we are seated in. Good to go, back to the machine. All right, so right here we're a little bit eye level with the starter. The top here are your shouldered bolts, and the bottom bolt is the one that's solid. You can do a few things, okay? You could take these shoulder bolts out and put washers in here to bridge the shoulders so it's nothing but a tight gap. And the same thing here, but what we're gonna do, because this bolt is missing, we're gonna thread this one in to make sure that this is not stripped. This bolt came out for a reason, it got loose. So we just wanna make sure. All right, that's pretty good. You don't wanna go too tight because this is aluminum. You do not want to strip out aluminum. So let's get our starter back in here, and we're gonna slide this thing back in. This is testing purposes only. So we're just gonna mount it, slide it, install the one bolt. Oh, there goes my hat. Am I in your way? Okay, we're locked in. We will get that one bolt in there. Okay, make sure the machine is off. Remember, we're not going to fully install this because we are still in the testing phase to make sure our repair is correct. So as soon as we plug this in, hit the button, this thing should spin. You ready? Contact. Nope. Nope. Nope, no good. She ordered the wrong one. Damn it. Alrighty, so now let's move on to the clutch, because that is something that we're gonna have to tackle either way. 1, 2, set these aside. 3, and 4. All right, so we pulled off the 4 half-inch bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna pull the cover off and you can see all the wear from the belt and the clutch on the bottom. I tend to leave this here because it's like a rust prohibitor. And this is what we have to look at right here. It's been like this for 10 years. 10 years, and we are going to replace it. See that cracking? No good. It's rubber, it's dry rot. There's absolutely nothing you can do. This is, to me, in my brain, it's normal. It's a wear and tear item, and it just happens. Just like your tires dry rot over time, so will your clutch. So again, same thing, half-inch, and we're gonna get this out. Yeah, got that there. So what's gonna happen is, see how as we're moving this, you're gonna get an adjustable wrench, or the wrench of the correct size, which I do not know. And you're going to put it right here on the gear or the socket. See that? Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Just like that. We're going to crack it loose. And you're going to have to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I'll crack one more for you. And then through the power of editing, it's all done. All right, so we are on the last bolt. And just like that, it falls right out on this shaft. Bend it one way, and it goes to another. And then we can get a better look at this clutch. Come on. There we go. You see all this cracking in this dry rot? That's the only reason why I recommended replacing it about 10 years ago. And the only reason why is to cover myself. He is an older gentleman. Shoveling snow sucks in general. Alright, so here is our new starter. Amazon affiliate link will be in the description to the same exact starter that Mrs. Pate's Performance purchased for us. I don't see the big issue with her using an aftermarket starter. We pass the savings along to the customer, which I'm sure he will greatly appreciate. And as you guys could see, there really isn't much wear. Can the camera pick that up? Alright, we're going to go high. We're going to go straight ahead. Can you see that? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, anyway, in case you forget the position of where this goes, look at the starter. Flip this over, you can see the star. That star matches up inside the machine itself. See that? So anyway, so let's go back. So before I had some word salad. All right. If this was my machine, I probably would have just replaced it for 2 reasons. One, we do blow a lot of snow, or we used to. Number 2, snow blowing, shoveling snow sucks. Number 3, on a difficulty level of 1 to 4, this is like a 0.5. There is literally no specialty tools needed. Now, you guys, I'm a big fan of anti-seize or grease. I'm just going to stick some grease in here. We're going to lube up these threads because what happens is this machine is aluminum. The component that this is screwed into is aluminum. And the bolt is not. So when you have 2 different metals in contact, they start to weld each other together. Now, the reason why these bolts probably came out nice and easy is because the snowblower vibrates a lot. A lot. You just don't really feel all of that. So all of binging and banging all these years kind of jostles the inside in a really, really good way. Or that's what I believe it to be. And when we're done with this, we'll go over a few of the other components in here, because even though we're not servicing this machine, while I'm in here, because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to be doing a few things. See, and as we need, we'll spin this around, spin the tire. And we have one more bolt right here. So grease, anti-seize, anything will work. I am a big proponent of you never put a bolt in back dry, within reason. You know, we're not building rocket ships here for Elon. We're fixing snow blowers. So the next time you go in here, it won't be an issue. Now, of course, I'm using the electric ratchet because I am a show-off, but the same way you came off is the same way it will go back on. As far as the process goes of putting your wrench in here, holding it, and if you don't trust, you know, you give this a good, yeah, this is good. Oh yeah, these are just fine. All right, while we are in here, let's have a gander. Let's have a look. Let's see what we got going on. I'm going to make this in very simple terms, in car terms, because that's how I explain it to people. This is your friction disc, aka clutch on a car that spins. This is what I call a flywheel. And what happens is this spins, locks onto here, and now spins the drive wheels. I'm sorry. This spins all the time as this is hooked up to a belt that spins off the motor. Once you engage the clutch, squeeze the handle, this will go down and make contact and your wheels will spin. Now you can see that there is some play in here that is just fine. As you spin it, it wobbles, everything is okay. There is nothing to worry about. Service points. Gonna throw some grease on this shaft. Grease the chain. You can see that this has been properly lubed for 10 years. Unless he had somebody else work on it. He could be cheating on me. You never know. And the gears on the bottom. And then we have this grease fitting right here. So, since my hands are already greasy, let's get that out of the way. Now, again, we're going to be using the Lucas Red and Tacky, but I'm a firm believer of use whatever grease you have on hand because some grease is better than no grease. People are going to talk about temperature ratings, and I'm going to default and sit there and say, guys, it's a snowblower, not a spaceship, okay? I work on a lot of things here. How many greases can you have? You know what I'm saying? Gearbox lube, you know, chassis grease, you know, all this other stuff, right? There's all these different types of greases and lubes, and I'm not saying they serve their purpose or they're trying to fill you up with stuff, right? But chassis grease on your car is subjected to all temperatures, hot and cold. The same temperatures your snowblower is going to be subjected to. So, if your car suspension components are just fine using chassis grease, please tell me why you can't get away with using it on your snowblower. I would not go out and buy a dedicated grease just for your snowblower. Heck, I work on a lot of these and I do not have dedicated grease. That's just me. And you can see here, I'm just putting it on the gears and just literally working it in. And the same thing with the chain. You don't need to get the chain lube. You can, there's nothing wrong with that, but again, you're just fine. And we're just gonna work that in. You don't wanna go too crazy because you don't wanna get grease on that friction plate. Now what we're also gonna do now is we're gonna move it through the gears. Because when you move it through the gears, you slide the friction disc over, and now you grease this part of the shaft, spin the tires, this excess grease that piled up, there you go, take some, and you put it right back in here, greased. Now, we are going to grease the Zerk fitting while we're in here, because that's the correct thing to do. Now, I like to grease applications like this, called the purge method. And the purge method is you pump grease till you see fresh grease coming out. So you are taking the old grease, you are forcing it out. This is going to be a tough camera angle. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Anyway, let's see what we can do. Yeah, this is coming at on a different angle. Okay, pay attention to this gear right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pump this with grease till we see fresh grease come out. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you could physically see it move. You know, the old grease is like shifting in like a pattern. All right, can you see the fresh grease coming out on my side, closest to here? All right, we'll give it a spin. Work it in. We'll give it a few more pumps. Yep, we're full. We're full because now it's coming out the back end right here, and you really don't want to do that. So now let's just take our excess grease off the nipple, recycle it, put it on this gear. Crazy, 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 crazy. I'm just marveled about, this is chassis grease, right? 10 years this chassis grease is on here, and this snowblower has survived Many winters, even though we haven't had snow in the past few years. What about all the snow before that? It's just fine. I'm going to work this in. Next step, because we have a new clutch in, we got to adjust it. Now I'm sure there is some crazy specification. I do not know that off the top of my head. I just go by eye and feel. All right, so just a simple test to see if we're even in the realm of being close is, this one is to screw the wheels. We're gonna spin it. Doesn't matter which way. And see how it stops? She is grabbing. So we know we're good, we know we are close. Now the next thing is there is a gap here. And you see that gap between the friction disc? It's kind of hard on the camera. I mean, that's pretty good to me. Again, I'm not sure if it has been touched before, so we will make a slight adjustment. And what we're going to be doing is adjusting this nut here. And you can see this nut here, it's going to pull this whole assembly closer. So again, don't go crazy, just make it a little bit. You don't want to make it where you can't see through it. I mean, you're just going to have to go by eye and feel. I cannot properly explain that to you, and this thing is going to be good to go. So is this 1/2 inch or 9/16? I forgot. No, this is 1/2 inch. So obviously, righty-tighty is to pull it. Lefty-loosey is to turn this in. So just turn this. Yeah, that's good. I literally gave this thing a 1/4 of a turn. It's literally only because, I mean, if I can't even probably show you on the camera what was turned, if the camera will even pick that up, but maybe it's just for me to feel a little bit better about myself and say, hey, I gave it a tweak and it's good to go. You know, it's just like a bag of dirt or a bag of sand or something, bag of seed or whatever. It doesn't fail you that before anybody does anything, what are they gonna do? Smack the bag. That's one of those moments. I just have to touch it. I cannot let it go for peace of mind. I'm going to sit there and say that this thing is okay. Slide this back in to the cubby hole, and back in she goes. Now these bolts, I'm not going to put anything on them because they already have stuff on them from the last time I was here, in here, and they came right off. And that is the beauty of using anti-seize. Alrighty. This thing is good to go for now until the new starter comes in. Hey Google, turn off garage lights.
Okay, turning off the garage lights.
Well, hello there. Take 20. Important mail. Speaking of mail, we do have a mail call. Some of you guys have sent us some mail, and we've been holding those packages on purpose, holding them off. I guess when we do a little garage review overview, we will open up one or some, depends on what you guys send us. Speaking of important packages, as you guys know, BAER'S Spares is a Pat Taste Performance approved vendor. He sells used but great snowblower parts at a fantastic deal. For the past year, all his information is linked on the bottom of every video. He is not a sponsor. We pay for all of this. I don't mind, because when you give us great service, price doesn't matter. So apparently this gear is made of unobtainium, and we have the starter gear, and he gave all this extra stuff, which is important because how many times am I going to pull off that hog ring and it breaks? So now that, hope he doesn't mind. So I just want to say thanks again to Eli and Rob over at BAER'S Spares. They have been supporting this channel for quite some time. This is not a paid sponsorship. They just give us quality parts at a great price. And as you guys could see, Eli is over here doing a QCI check before a machine gets broken down and relisted for parts. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. So let's make sure this gear works. Whew. These are the same height. Come on, focus. Hey, I should really close that. Yeah, so these are gonna be the same height. This thing is good to go. You guys already seen me swap gears. So I don't want to bore you guys with that. I'm kind of fed up trying to swap these gears, so I'm just going to do this off camera. Hopefully the hog ring doesn't break. But if it does, it's no big deal, because BAER'S Spares sent me an extra one, even though I didn't ask for it. I just needed the gear. Thank you. All right, so we're done. New starter installed. Put the condom back on. We'll get this machine started, and then we'll do a little garage talk, a little shop talk. Alrighty, the moment of truth. I have the cord hooked up. I had to put one washer in. If you know, you know, to make sure this is nice and stable. So we're just gonna make sure we're gonna hit it. We're not gonna hear any like grinding noises. We just want to hear the starter is engaged. Fantastic. This thing is done. Let's do the mandatory victory dance, right? What's the dance? I'm sure the missus is going to be very happy that this machine is leaving, because this thing actually started to leak gas, and since our garage is attached, the smell goes into the house. So let's circle back and bring this up to the garage. Don't mind that compressor. That was a little project. We have that gable vent there, but we're not sure if I want to do like a fan, like we have for the whole house, or I actually have to do an exhaust fan, which means I have to cut into the house, and the sodding part makes me nervous. Number two is we need lighting here. And like I said, the missus, whatever. Anyway, the quick and easy way is to just add an outlet from here, you know, wire there to an outlet there in the corner, then hook up the lights and, come on, what's that? Como se llama? Ultrasonic cleaner. that I barely use. The correct way is hopefully I drilled a big enough hole, right? And because we have this beautiful box here, we have 3 open spaces. So I would run a dedicated, I would have a dedicated 20 amp circuit, run it over, across, and right back down. And then at that point, I would do an outlet in that corner, an outlet dead center, and another outlet right there. So if I was to do that, which I really don't want to do because that's being lazy, is all this sheetrock would have to come off, or I would cut out sections. But I would have to take it off because I have to drill holes through each beam to run wire through. So basically all this stuff would have to come down halfway through, just make a nice cut and zip, you know, and just take everything apart. So I know it's not a terrible thing to do, but that means all this stuff that I put up there has to come back down. Boo-hoo. So I'm not sure if I just want to bite the bullet and just do it all at once, or just do it the cheap and lazy way and then tackle this for another day. We're a little bit backed up with repairs, number one. Number two, this garage renovation isn't really done. And I'm not going to sit there and like I'm not ungrateful, but I'm a little bit over it. It actually feels good to be working again here in this manner instead of doing stuff like this. Again, I'm very, very grateful. It's just a little bit different. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today in the garage. Don't forget to check out BAER'S Spares. I will put all his information in the bottom of the video. I will update it. His information will be in every video. And maybe I'll give him a sponsor spot. No charge. Alright guys, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Guess what? I see you guys on the next episode of Pate's Performance. Later.